Hi everyone, my name is Julia Livesey Anderson, and I will be taking you through an analysis of one of our poet's poems. This poet is Rupi Kaur, apologize for that. And here we are going to be understanding the meaning behind the words. I do have some images of some of her other poems. A few are taken from the one I'm going to be focusing on, which leads us to Homebody. Homebody is basically a self-reflection. It's one of her more recent anthologies, and for those of you that don't know, an anthology is basically just a collaboration of poems that are just made into a book. So anytime you get one of her books, or maybe you have a different poet and they have a book and it's full of poems, that would be an anthology. So this one, called Homebody, it's a self-reflection between writing for oneself, for others, and continuing to push forth from the past. Rupi Kaur does have a very tragic past. Well, maybe not so much so tragic, but as you were listening earlier, you did kind of understand that she went through certain things such as sexual assault, to rape, to getting beaten by an abusive boyfriend. So she's gone through quite a lot of things, and she does struggle with getting past those, as every human does. And so she uses a series of figurative devices throughout her anthology, and as each poem is kind of giving imagery, tone, it's also connecting with the readers on different levels, because each poem at the end of the day is a little different than the other one. The Secret Door. So now this poem was found on page 26. It's the one that I'm going to be analyzing. It did not have a title, but I am going to be using part of what was used inside of it from one of the lines as our title in this case. So I'm just going to read it real quick. I want to be snapped, cracked, hammered into. I want to open where I am closed, find the secret door. Let me out of me. I want something to hold me by the neck, split me down the middle, and make me feel alive again. I don't want to be numb anymore. Now this is quite impactful, so let's take a look here. Here's the sense of urgency. The need to feel again is plastered on the page. You see the overuse of want. I want, I want, I want, I don't want. That is very demanding, but in this case, it's not so much so demanding, it's just a way for her to express her desire to feel again, because at the end, she does mention, I do not want to be numb anymore. Or I'm sorry, I don't want to be numb anymore. This does make the tone candid yet resigned. Candid in this case is very truthful and honest. Everything she just stated or used in this poem is very truthful. Now it's resigned. Given the past tense, look, she used snapped in the first line, that's ed, cracked in the second line, hammered, ed is used throughout this poem. Now, this does tell us that it is in the past. She's resigned from those past events, and now she's kind of hopeful, if you will, to moving into something new. Just admitting a change when someone has been in a hard place is hard to do, and in this case, she does admit that, and it's very impactful. Now, the reader should understand that she does not write these ideas just to write them. She's writing them for herself and for others, and it's her truest emotions and experiences that she's sharing with us. Now, moving on into our theme, I do have a little sunset image here that is from one of her previous works. So one of the major themes she uses throughout Homebody is disconnection and introspection, meaning looking inside oneself. She's very disconnected, and then she looks inside herself and she realizes that, hey, in this case, in the poem that I'm using, she does want change. This poem is no different, except now, as I just said, she has that desire for a change. A self-reflection is occurring from those events in the past, and at this moment, she now wants what she didn't have. And in this case, it's emotions. Many of the audience can connect with this as well, because most, or maybe if not most, a lot have gone through things such as depression or anxiety, and so they do connect with this. Moving on quickly, we do have figurative devices. Some of them that she uses is an onomatopoeia. She uses metaphor as well as hyperbole, and she does create imagery throughout it. Now, the onomatopoeia is snapped and cracked. Those ones you can see it without actually having to hear it. The metaphor is basically she wants to be freed and yet held down at the same time. Lines 1 through 3 and line 9 are not to be meant literal. That is how it's a hyperbole, and then while reading this, you can kind of get that dark, vivid sense that she's talking about. Finally, let's go ahead and connect the pages, or connected by the pages. This is how her work kind of connects with our world today. Now, as we know, we have been going through a pandemic since the start or at the end of 2019. If not, then definitely the start of 2020. Now, many have been quarantined at home, left with only their thoughts, and that always isn't the best case because we might dwell on certain things or remember things that we didn't quite want to, and the staleness of the days may not be the best thing for us. Now, Quar continues to impact the world today with their anthologies, deepening a sense of connection for women who have suffered through similar pasts, such as the sexual assault, the trauma of the abusive boyfriend, all of those, as well as others. She's teaching them to continue forth, as while you may feel disconnected at some points, you're eventually going to want to change. Everyone gets to that point, and she is no different. And so even when the mind and the body seem separate for so long, they can still come together. Thank you.